Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.
Party Gamecast, we'll show you what to play, giving you ideas when you don't know what to do or say. Party Gamecast, it's all fun and games, we'll show you new ideas to play. Party Gamecast, having fun is easy when you know what games to play. Party Gamecast, we'll show you what to play, giving you ideas so you can party away.
Welcome to the Party Gamecast, featuring the Party Gamecast, a podcast about party games and games you take to parties. I'm your moderator, Bruce. Joining me in the show is Rocky.
Hello.
Hey. Brian.
What's up?
What's up, Brian? I know it's way out of order, but that's how I felt like I do it. Mike.
Hey.
Hey. And also Marty.
Hello.
What's happening, Marty?
I got my Fauci ouchies.
Well, that's good. That's like that's like an onion ring, right? It's like those like Funyuns.
Kinda.
Yeah.
It's nothing like an onion ring.
It's Funyuns that hurt your arm.
Yeah.
Like it's like Funyuns.
Yeah. So like,
yeah. No, that's
so
that
like Funyuns.
pain that goes down your left arm. That's different.
Oh, that's a different how it hurts my arm.
No.
I mean,
that's Funyuns.
So, welcome, everybody. We're back. We're doing a thing in all good theory. Now that we are having someone else edit the show for us, this is probably out in some kind of normal time. But the one before this was incredibly late. But yeah, hey, things are moving. We expect that we have this and probably one more episode, the next episode that we'll be doing virtually over Zoom. And then we just might be back to doing a show together.
Maybe.
In the same place.
How do we play like games do we all just get quicks on our phone and sit around in the same room, or?
I think
I have
that's
to bring my
probably
laptop over and Zoom with you in the same room now?
Yeah, that seems counterproductive. Like a LAN party at your house?
That would be kind of hot. That would be a nice throwback.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we should celebrate. Maybe we should celebrate coming back together with a LAN party.
I'm in. Let's play Worms.
Oh, God. Get some Quake going. Yeah.
We gotta Duke Nukem or something.
Nice.
Heck yes.
I'm ready. Or Mike, what's that one we keep threatening to play that for years we've been going to play and we haven't? The one that's like you're like operating a space bridge.
Artemis, yes.
Artemis. We've been threatening to play Artemis together for years. And finally, thanks, I guess we'll say, to the lockdown, we might finally have enough computers and enough screens to legitimately run this now.
I think you've had enough screens for a while.
Oh, I have so many more screens now, Mike.
Oh, goodness.
I have so many more screens.
He does.
So what we're going to be talking about on the show today, because we decided not even to remotely tell you, is we did a virtual escape room. There are many kinds of virtual escape rooms. We'll get into that as we get there. We did one of them. We didn't do all of them.
But that would take a while.
Brian, Rocky, and I did two of the same type. But we'll talk about that in a second. Because first, you know what time it is?
What time
No,
is it?
I really don't. It's been a while.
It is, if I remember correctly, it is time for What the Food!
What the
Oh, what the food?
What the
What is
food?
food?
Baby, don't hurt me. Nom nom. All of a sudden, it became the system is down,
Yeah, really?
which I think it kind of
is down.
do. So lately we've
lights
been.
flashing,
It's time for a light switch rave. So lately on these, we've been doing like a mini snack brackets. This time we've decided it's time for a time-honored tradition here on the show. It is time for Cookie Battle!
That's a time-honored tradition?
If I say it's a time-honored tradition...
yesterday, Mike. Where were you?
Oh.
I was hoping if I said it with enough excitement that it would seem like a thing we have done before.
Check the back catalog.
Today's Cookie Battle is sponsored by beer. It's made out of beer ingredients. You can both buy it and drink it. It makes you want to do beer things, like play that game where you throw beanbags, or hunt moose, or cheer local sports team. It's beer. It's light beer. Drink it.
Beer.
So there we go. There is. I was told to specifically do that with as little energy as possible.
Everyone's gonna think that we are imbibing the beer right now.
We are not actively imbibing
No.
the beer,
Don't
although.
speak for all of us.
That's why your camera's off.
Yep. Generic beer, of course. Beer, light beer. It's made of beer ingredients. You can both buy it and drink it. They are our sponsor for this episode. Thank you so much for sponsoring What the Food.
All of beer is our sponsor, huh?
The entirety of beer from New York to the Northern Island, from the Gulf Stream.
You really don't know that song, do you?
To Cripple Creek.
No,
I don't think we call it that anymore.
25
Is
to
that where you get the
64.
water for the beer?
Is that's the song, right?
Up on Cripple Creek?
There we go. Okay.
That's a
from
different song.
Floribama all the
To
way
Pennsylvania.
to Pennsylvania. All the beer.
All the American beer.
All the American beer. So, cookie fight!
Okay.
We've had all kinds of cookies that have come in, some from our sponsors, some that we have found. Rocky, we have chosen 3 cookies. Talk to us about our 3-way cookie dance.
Okay, so up first, a perennial favorite, a constant favorite here, Oreos. They are.
You're gonna open with that one. Oh, that's hot
Yes,
business.
sort of.
Yeah, because I would
Go downhill
imagine.
from here.
Yes, so we are going for a Lady Gaga Oreos. So the package is very shiny and white, and there's like a tear in it, so you can sort of see inside.
And that is a very strong smell when you open them.
Yep. Oh yeah, that is. It smells like fat and sweet.
Oh, like me.
Exactly what it smells like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, you're right.
I'm getting pounds just sniffing the package.
It says a cookie inspired by Lady Gaga, and then it says, "Oh God, the text is
Oorah,
real small."
mama,
Yeah.
oorah.
On Chromatica, no one thing is greater than another.
I feel like
Well, that's
3
a
is
shame
greater
because
than
we're
2.
supposed to judge the best cookie here.
No,
so I
you're
think we're
not.
already going to violate the box.
I mean, how
Okay,
you
so that
open
was
it's up
maybe
to
not
you.
the way to phrase that. We're going to not listen to the advice of Lady Gaga.
So the description of what these look like directly from the package is pink-colored golden cookie with green cream.
That's all true. No
Yes,
lie
but-
detected.
Why would you just say pink cookie?
Because it's a golden cookie instead of a chocolate cookie, so you shouldn't expect a chocolate flavor.
Which you would with Oreos. Here's another thing to note. I don't know if anybody's figured this out. So one side, and I'm holding up to the camera for everybody, has the Oreo logo. It looks like a normal Oreo just in pink. But if you turn it around, there's like an Aztec god of the dance.
Oh, mine's different. I have a heart.
Mine has a heart.
Okay, so you have a different one.
Yeah,
There's
they're all
several.
different.
Oh,
If
there
you
are
just
a
stick
couple.
your nose in a container, I swear it smells like Play-Doh.
I was going to point that out. Yeah, it both looks
smells
and smells
exactly
like it's
like
made
Play-Doh.
of Play-Doh.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how Oreos smell.
Yeah.
They don't normally smell
No.
that Play-Doh-y. Like this looks like something you made with one of those little Play-Doh kits that makes fake food.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is concentrated like Oreo smell.
I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it. But I have to
Oh,
eat it the way I eat
oh, my
Oreos. I have
word.
to take it apart. Hold on.
That is a like
Oh, I have the Lord of the
angry
Dance
Hulk
too.
green.
Yeah.
That is a very crunchy cookie.
This is an
Yeah, that
incredibly
is-
crunchy cookie. And
That
it's like
is-
they turned up the dials on all of the stuff that makes an Oreo hard to eat and distasteful.
Yeah, they turned down all the flavor dials. It
Yeah.
tastes like Play-Doh.
It really does.
Like-
Wow.
Yeah,
Like-
there's a weird aftertaste too. It's like
It's mealy.
This
Oh.
is so bad for an Oreo that I almost wonder if this is an art project. Like it's intentionally supposed to talk about consumerism and exactly what we put in our bodies.
Yeah, this is. How do you mess up an Oreo?
yeah, I think this is by far like the worst Oreo I've ever had. Unless
you-
it was like sitting out in dampness for a week.
Yeah.
If this just had the like custom sides and didn't say Oreo, I would just think it was a knockoff brand.
Yeah.
And a bad one at that.
A
Yeah, like the one
horrible
that you get at the discount one at the Five Below.
that's been sitting there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And these, unlike most of the food we eat on the show, is actually in date.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
for
not expired.
3 more weeks.
I mean, I'm
So-
not saying we didn't push it, but like we have a whole thing that we do here, and I didn't want us to completely go against what we do.
Yeah, normally we're behind by like 9 to 14 months. So.
Yeah. This I argue is the single worst story I've ever had, and I can't believe that because
Yeah.
it's expected more to the point to where I almost wonder if from the Gaga camp this was an intentional thing that they've done to make these both an unnatural color that you don't feel comfortable putting in your body, and then once you do, you get literally no reward for having given into the machine.
Yeah, that is foul.
Yeah.
I must be trash because I don't hate them.
I don't
I
know
mean,
why
it-
not,
it
but
could
enjoy.
be better, but like it could be worse.
They could
I don't know.
definitely be better.
What?
I mean, it's still sugar and
Yeah.
fat, so I'm not like.
That's
terribly
exactly what I
bad.
enjoy in life.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
but,
eat
like,
I'll eat the
this
whole
is the-
cookie, but I won't eat the second one.
I mean, I'll eat the whole pack, but I won't be happy about it.
Eh.
I'm with you there, Brian.
I will regretfully eat this whole pack. No.
I will probably not. No.
I mean, I don't know what else. I'm not feeding them to the dog. That's unhealthy.
True.
Not doing that to the dog.
Yeah, I'll do that to my own body, but shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not
Care
a
about the dog.
monster.
So let's do the thing we do. At the end, we'll compare the three. But right now, would you take it to a party, Marty?
No.
Brian?
Only for the novelty with a warning of like, just look at it. Don't even smell it.
They are pretty to see.
Yeah, no, they
Kinda.
are a fun-looking Oreo.
Yeah, they are like a
They're
Hulk
fun, but
green.
they're different. But that's not enough.
No.
How about you, Mike?
Is this theoretically a party in which I violently hate everyone in attendance?
No, you're actually pretty happy that you're backing around people.
Yeah, then no. No
Okay.
way. I want to be invited back to that party then, so I would not bring these.
Fair. How about you, Rock?
So I would, because A, they'll look amazing arranged on a platter.
Yes.
And B, if you enjoy too much of our sponsor, you're going to want these.
I don't know
want
if-
anything
And
at that
C,
point.
no one else will eat them, so there'll be a lot for you.
Yeah. There you go.
You're right, Rocky. They do kind of have that similar taste to like a cheap light beer, that like funky aftertaste that's not quite sweet. It's not quite hoppy. It's just meh.
I would not
remember,
know.
our sponsor, Beer Brand Light Beer, cheap and hoppy beer. So, what is our next cookie, Rock?
Let's go to Britannia. Good day. It is called Pista Almond Cookies or Pista Almond Cookies.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how they expect you to pronounce that. I guess pista.
It's
Pistalmond?
Because it's
pistachios and almonds,
pistachio.
so
Yes, but
It's a double A, which is like with the hyphen.
Yeah.
It's how do
Yeah.
you pause in the middle of an A?
Pista almond.
hey guys, 2 packs for $1.
Nice.
Also,
I mean, that's value right there.
Yeah.
yes.
So,
Oh my God, these are still in date too.
you know,
Yeah.
in a rare shot, everything we're eating is
Wow.
in date thanks to both our own fact-finding missions and help from our sponsors, including the fine people at Beer. Remember, local sports team.
This smells
Beer.
weird. This smells really
so
weird.
There's
I've
a
taken a
lot to
bite.
unwrap about this. Like, and I'm not talking about unwrapping the actual paper.
So I'm trying to unwrap it without destroying all the cookies inside. It doesn't want to open.
Look, there are crumbs everywhere on this end.
Yeah. It's like sealed real tight, so there's no give in the package. You just
Yeah,
kind
and the
of crush
crumb-
all the cookies.
and the cookies crumb really easily. They're like really,
Ooh.
like on the
Keeps-
edge are just falling apart when you touch them.
They smell weird.
Yeah, I keep just sniffing them.
These are
So-
almost like cracker cookies or
They
something. I don't
smell
know.
better than the Play-Doh cookies we had. Just
They smell like-
Everything smells
like-
better than Play-Doh cookies.
Old butter.
These are a very
A little
specific
bit.
taste.
Yeah,
Have you all had, that cookie company where really what they make is a container for you to put all of your old sewing equipment
Oh
into?
my God, yeah.
But they
Yeah.
put but as a joke, they put cookies in there when you first buy it. But really, they're
Uh-huh.
selling you a container for knickknacks and leftover pennies
and
and, like,
buttons and like
buttons
yeah.
and like
Mhm.
one thimble. Even though you've never sewn anything, you own one thimble that does not fit on your thumb.
But there is a pin in there
Yeah,
just so that
yeah.
you can stick yourself when you put your hand in there looking for a penny.
Just one though.
It is that cookie. This is definitely that cookie. I've had this cookie before because every once in a while we'd need a mobile junk drawer. So we'd buy one and it would be filled with cookies and be like, oh, lucky us, the junk drawer came with cookies.
They're not quite as sweet as those, but they have they have the, I agree with you, they have that flavor and that texture to them.
The texture.
Yeah, they look like those, but they're definitely more savory because of the pistachio.
And it's weird because it doesn't really taste of pistachio or almond at all.
No.
But it like real like hint of almond and pistachio with a whole lot of butter taste.
Yeah, it's very buttery, and there's like the pistachio gives it. It's almost like some kind of spice is hiding in here, but it's very mild.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So it is a product of India, which I assume means that there's some kind of an amazing spice in there that we don't know about in this part of the world.
It's
that
not
makes
on the
everything
ingredient
taste
list.
better.
No, but you know what is on the ingredient list? Cashew.
Huh.
I hope this is not the part where one of you reveals a cashew allergy.
Yeah, almond, cashew, and pistachio. Yeah, I mean, it almost tastes like somebody waved some cardamom near it.
Yes.
Like not
when I was
actually.
smelling it.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
I believe a lot of this stuff
Not
is
bad. It's just interesting.
I definitely enjoy it more than the Sewington cookies.
To me, it
Those
just
are
reminds
bland.
me of straight up Sewington. Like I can't get like you're probably right. It probably is a little bit better, but that memory is so ingrained in my mind of those mobile junk drawer cookies that I can't get past it.
These look exactly like they belong in that tin, but like I remember those were always like you as a kid. We had them. I don't like some aunt or somebody would always give you some at Christmas.
Yeah.
And you pull the cookies out and they're like covered in giant crystals of sugar, and then you eat them and they're not sweet.
Yeah, and you have no idea.
Mad. And you're like, they're dry, they're not buttery, they aren't sweet, they just crumble and dry out your face, and you're like, why did I eat this?
You're like, why am I eating a buttery desiccant?
Yeah,
how is that even possible?
This is very pleasant. I like. It's not my favorite cookie ever, but it's very tasty.
So we have to fire the question. Let's do it. Let's do it round table style. Would you take it to a party, Rocky?
No, do not like.
Mike?
Sure. I mean, they're okay.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, they're not the best cookie ever, but they're different enough from what most people have that they would at least be, and they're not bad. I think people at least get a kick out of them.
That might be true. How about you, Marty?
Not really. I mean, they're not good enough to bring them for the like. These are awesome. Here, have some, and they're not different enough for novelty factor. They're just like if there's the only thing I had around, I might grab them. But there's not enough of any one thing to make them. Ooh, I need to bring this kind of thing.
Let's pretend you were headed to like the Lamb and Wool Festival. So you're around a bunch of people that clearly understand this taste. They're like, oh no, I get it. I have a lot of Sewingtons. I know. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to start calling those cookies is Sewington's cookies.
Nice.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Sewington's, if you're out there, not a sponsor, if you want to sponsor the show, let us know. Sewington's cookies. They taste like old butter, but you can put your bobbins in there. Sewington's. I agree. I'm not taking them to a party. This is not at all. It's a race to the bottom so far for me in the cookie battle.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, these are definitely better than the other ones.
Yeah, we're definitely going upwards from the Play-Doh cookies.
Yeah, but it's hard not to when you start in the basement.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, when you start at Play-Doh, it's all up. It's all better.
We couldn't have known.
No, not at all. So, Rocky, we have one more cookie in Cookie Battle. What is our final cookie?
So, this final cookie looks like the brand name is Parle or Parlay. I'm not sure.
Let's say Parlay.
Insist on export pack, hide and seek, American style cookies, cashew butter. I'm not sure what about these is American style.
Oh,
Did
the
you see the
vaguely
American
flag thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the American flag.
No, it's got like bow ties instead of stars.
Yeah, bow ties
Nice.
instead of stars. It's got two kinds of red and then white.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
looks like an ice cream cone. Like
the
it's
people of India might be a little like confused about what style is in America? Because
these
cashew butter cookies and bow ties for stars is not really.
I mean, these look exactly like the British cookies that we just opened.
Yes.
And if you put them both in a bowl, I couldn't tell you which
were
was
Indian
which.
as well.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, but they're Britannia.
Yeah.
So
Also,
that's Britain.
as a note, all of these came from the Mexis border, and they all came from an Indo-Paki store at the Mexis border. So we have all kinds of snacks that are coming from here. These are just the cookie portion, and then I found the Lady Gaga's.
So this smells like butter again, but without the weird, like, possible spice.
You know what it smells like? It smells like Sewington's has found a brand new flavor.
So if you look at the ingredients, though, it contains artificial flavors of both cashew and butter and does not contain cashews or butter.
Oh, my.
Well, then they got some part of the American style correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells chemically like almost. I get like a movie theater butter kind of butter.
Yeah, it tastes like the movie theater butter too. It has that weird oily buttery taste that, like, the other ones tasted like butter cookies. These taste like the butter popcorn butter.
That is,
that
is
really
very
do.
strange.
The same sandy texture as the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This tastes like I'm eating something from a Chopped challenge. Like, it's almost right, but something's a little off. They clearly swapped out something early in the competition that they're having to get over.
Yeah,
Oh my word,
butter.
Sewingtons, what are you doing?
They swapped out butter for like movie theater butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mouth feels like it has a residue.
That's the movie theater butter. It'll do that.
So I'm gonna be the weirdo here and say I don't hate this.
I don't hate it. It's just weird.
I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
I would not take it to a party. I will start with that. I'll open up. I'll enter the trick with I would not take it to a party. But I don't hate it.
Mm.
How about you, Rock?
I'm with Marty. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I
Okay.
don't want more, but I'm not disgusted.
Are you taking it to a party?
No. No.
Nice delivery.
Well done. How about you, Marty?
No, it's just they're just blah, and they're like nothing special about them, and I just don't see a reason.
Fair enough. How about you, Mike?
No. Again, I'd like to be invited back to that party, and I don't think anyone's really gonna go particularly crazy over this. It's not terribly good, and it's not terribly bad. It's just weird and vaguely unpleasant.
Fair enough. How about you, Brian? You taking this to a party?
Before I answer that, I'd like to point out that after you eat one of these, if you like exhale, you get the Play-Doh flavor of the Oreos.
Oh no.
I don't know. I was like, why does my nose taste like Play-Doh?
Oh.
Why are you tasting your nose?
Because I exhaled through it. And you got a lot of, most of your taste is in your nose.
I understand. And for a while you were waiting to exhale. I get it.
Exactly. I would take them as an ironic thing. Like, hey, Americans, let's have some American style cookies. Look at the American packaging and these cookies that are just like the kind we all have. But I would also preface it with they're not good. This is just an ironic joke.
So you want to take this for like a 4th of July party?
Yeah.
Imported from India.
Yeah.
Imported from Mexico, imported from India.
Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it a lot. Now, final step here on What the Food Cookie Battle! It is time to pick of the cookies you have been presented your favorite cookie of the show. Will it be the Lady Gaga Oreos? Will it be one of the two from Sewington's?
This is not even a
still not a
contest.
sponsor. Let's start with you, Brian.
It's not even a contest. I'm going with the Good Day Pista almonds because they're the only ones that I kind of like. The others are both unpleasant.
Very, very fair and reasonable. How about you, Marty?
Same thing. The pistachio almond ones are the least undesirable.
Strong praise. Oh my word. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I have to agree. These are the pistachio almond ones that have no pistachios or almonds and vaguely taste like maybe real butter though.
The pistachio almond ones had pistachio and almonds. They also had cashews. It's the cashews that didn't actually have cashews in them.
Oh,
Yeah.
forgive me for getting screwed up there. Yeah, it's difficult to keep them straight. The cashews don't have cashews, but the snozberries taste like snozberries.
Always.
The pistachio almond ones are the least objectionable of the three that we have tried today.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with the Sewington's American style. I know. I guess I just like movie theater butter popcorn flavoring. I understand you're all looking at me.
Well, you can make some popcorn and just crumble those up because they will definitely crumble.
Oh, they will certainly. I mean, everything. That is a hallmark of Sewington's cookies. They're just the crumbliest. Still not a sponsor, but we're going to work on it. Rock, how about
them and the pickles? We need jars and tins. That's
no. I think before we get Grillo's pickles, also not a sponsor, Grillo's.
Will you use those jars for old screws and washers and things?
So you figure there's going to be like a brand collab between them and Sewington's?
Probably.
Okay.
And it's going to take up your whole basement.
Yeah, where's there even room?
Well,
they're going to come out with new.
They provide their own room.
There's going to be new gifting pickles.
Oh, if only.
Oh, yeah. The holiday pack.
Oh, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Rock, so how about you? Which one are you going to pick in Cookie Battle?
So I am going to pick the Oreos.
There you go.
Because I found the texture of the other two so off-putting, I do not want more. I don't want to eat sand if I eat a cookie.
Yeah, there we go. Three of us on the Pista Almond Good Day hide-and-seek cookies from the fine folks at Sewington's. I'm on the Sewington's movie butter flavor popcorn American style. Rocky's on the Lady Gaga Oreos.
Rah, rah.
Ooh, mama. So, Rocky, please tell everybody the actual real name in case they would want to try our winning cookies for today's cookie battle.
The Britannia Good Day Pista Almond cookies?
I said good day cookies.
Good day. 2 packs for $1.
I mean,
they sure are.
That feels right. So there we go. We're about to head into the rest of the show. What we want to do first, we want to thank all of the listeners like you that support us over at patreon.com. We want to thank Mike Cooper. Thank you so much for your support. Brian Ganninger, thank you. Jerry Reese, thank you so much for your support. Stephen Quaid, thank you for your support as well. And for everybody else that takes the time to throw a couple bucks in the till so that we can continue to make this show and have Lady Gaga Oreos. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And as we head into the game portion of the show, we want to thank our main sponsor, Power to the Maple at powertothemaple.com. Great games, great prices, supporting shows like ours. I was about to, so I get myself in trouble every time. Is what I do is during the show is we do this thing where we thank the Power to the Maple so much for what they're doing for us and other shows, and the Spiel Foundation, helping people all over the country, and now starting to help people all over the world. And then I read what's on the page right now. And not only is that, even if the show was made quickly, it would be out of date. But then I say it, and I think the last episode that came out, the game might even be out of print by the time the episode came out. It's not to say, like, it wasn't like years later, like the Phantom episode that Brian made that just never got out, that I never put out. It's not even like that. It's an almost
reasonable. Does that still never come out?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it did finally.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So we want to remind you, there's a whole bunch of stuff for the game Ashes here, which looks beautiful. There's Maglev Metro from the fine folks at Bezier Games. All kinds of cool stuff you can find here. You can learn a lot about these games. There's links for you to learn more information from Board Game Geek and from different folks. Once again, Power to the Maple, powertothemaple.com. Great prices, helping shows like ours, helping the Spiel Foundation. Check them out once again at powertothemaple.com. Our main sponsor on the show. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you to all the listeners like you out there. That seems to be the way you say. I think that's the way PBS says it. So it feels right to me. That are out there supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/partygamecast. Thank you so much. And now let's jump into the main meat of the show. Let's jump into the game part. So we've been doing what we can through the lockdowns and the pandemic to find stuff to do and games to play and ways to do it through all of our various devices. And we finally decided this time, let's try something custom made for this experience. We decided to try a virtual escape room. So what I will say is this. There are many types of virtual escape rooms. I intentionally did not do one type of virtual escape room, which is a real escape room set up somewhere with actors in it, and you just yell at them for an hour.
That seems so mean.
I do feel like maybe at some point that we should do it and record it. We'll get some room that will agree to let us do it but it would be a lot of like, pick it up.
No, not like that.
Turn it the other way. The other way.
Your other left.
We know 3 and 6 are right. 3, 6, 1, pull it. 3, 6, 2, pull it. 3, 6, 3, pull it. Just keep doing it until it opens.
Just hit it harder. Hit it harder.
I don't know. Move it to the left. It's clearly a magnet lock. I don't know.
Throw your shoulder into it.
Just keep rubbing it around until the light goes off. It'll be fine. Stop it. That just seems to me like that wasn't the experience we wanted to have. Although I think at some point we probably should do that, record it, and put it somewhere for everyone. And that may be a thing. But we decided today to, and does anybody, it's virtualescaping.com, I believe, is the one that we did.
Sounds right.
Think so. Hang on.
Everyone's checking on that. But essentially, the one that we did plays like a video game where you're given access for a limited amount of time for up to 5 people to play like a point-and-click adventure game, is what I would say. Does that sound right? Does that sound like an accurate description of what we did?
School, like early 90s, like puzzle games.
That is exactly how I described it to someone during our little break. Remember Myst?
Yep.
It's like that, but easier and with friends.
So essentially the circle of life has taken place. Myst begat other games that begat escape rooms that have begat back to Myst. It's essentially what has happened. We are now here for the circle of life. We've been a part of the whole thing.
But it feels new to youngins.
And you know, it feels new to me. It feels new. It's been a while since I did a point-and-click adventure, and gosh darn it, here we are. So let's kind of start with everybody's experience in this. Rock, so talk to me about like in real life escape rooms and all that kind of stuff. Like, what experience do you have with this subject matter before we get into the virtual portion of it?
We've done several different escape rooms. Some much lower tech than others, I would say, because there was one with like with screens and activated video and pew, 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 laser beams. Oh my God, Ghostbusters.
Yes, but it had a movie tie-in.
Yeah, and then there was one that seemed like it was just like in someone's house.
Yeah, the very first one we ever did felt like we were in someone's like puzzle basement.
Yes. And
we might not get out. It was very very strange.
But I don't think we've ever failed one.
I think
to escape from...
Yeah, I agree. I think we've had one or two maybe that we have done. I think there's one where definitely we were given enough clues to get out in time, and maybe we wouldn't have had the person, the game master running it, not force fed us some help.
You remember we did one at Dice Tower Con? Yes, I do. With the most motley crew ever.
Yes, because it was you and me and Sydney Engelstein.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I think Donald Dennis.
Yes.
And there was one other person. I think we only spent part of that trip, and that's the only time I can remember seeing them. But yeah, it was a very strange crew that decided to do like a midnight 30 run to the escape room. Because if you've ever seen Rocky Night at Con, and you probably haven't because we've only been to like 4. But unless it's MagFest, which we go and play video games, for a real gaming convention, like a real, honest to goodness, hardcore cardboard board gaming convention, we show up at the crack of 4 p.m. We look around the room and we go, "What's poppin', everybody? Who wants to go get dinner?" And then we leave. And then we come back after dinner at about 7:30 and we go, "Oh, dinner was great. What's poppin', y'all? Who wants to go away from this place and do something that's not being here?" And then we leave and we go do something that's not being there. And then we come back at like 1:30 in the morning. We go, "What's up, y'all? Who wants to go find empanadas?" and then we go find empanadas, and then we come back and people are like, "Oh, you're the Party Gamecast. It's Party Gamecast hour. It's 3 a.m. And we're like, "Oh, I don't know, y'all. I'm real tired." And we do that while pointing at a non-existent wristwatch. And then we go, "Have a great night, everybody," and we leave. And that's
Let's
pretty much.
not. Wait, I'm gonna interrupt you right now.
Okay.
No one said, "Oh, you're the Party Gamecast." No, everyone goes, "Hey, you're Bruce, aren't you?"
That may be it.
Yeah.
You do party games.
Yeah, no. And I'm just standing there saying, "Hi," and they're like, "But that's Bruce, right?"
I remember it slightly differently, but I get it. But that is how we handle conventions. So that is some of our escape room experience. Mike, how about you? So what's your escape room experience? Let's just talk about like ones in the full 3-dimensional world before the plague came.
So I've done a handful of them, mostly non-virtual. I've done some of the board game ones also.
Okay.
The physical board game ones where you get together around a table and there's a whole bunch of cards, and sometimes there's like a booklet that you have to tear apart in various ways and you can only play it once, really.
Yep.
I've played those. And it's everywhere. Anything from like magnetic locks, and I remember the one with like a cheesy looking dragon head on the wall. Some of them are good. Some of them, not so good. And the challenge is generally middling at best for most of the groups that I've been with. But as like, I've never been with a group of people who none of them have done an escape room before. So every time I've been there, it's been with at least 1 or 2 people who are kind of like escape room aficionados.
Okay.
So we've always had that advantage. It's always seemed fairly easy. And then you kind of pick it up quickly too. And it's really not that challenging. This one was a little bit different than those, this virtual one. It's the only time I've done a virtual escape room.
And we'll kind of get into the differences on this in just a moment. Let me jump over to you, Marty. So what is sort of your experience with escape rooms prior to what we're talking about here virtually? And Mike, I want to say on the show, we covered Exit and Unlock.
Yes.
I know we've done Deckscape together. I just don't know if we covered it on the show.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
That may have just been one we played. So Marty, what is your experience with it in like the real world?
So I've done 3 in the real world, but I haven't done any of the board games ones.
Okay.
And it's kind of one of these things where it depends on the people you're with, because the clues themselves, sometimes the logic that people use, it's kind of out there. And even after you figure it out, you're like, eh. So I don't know if it's not really the puzzles you go with. It's the trying to figure out with your friends how this crazy thing works, I think, is the fun part of it for me.
I can completely understand that. I can completely get that. So how about you, Brian? I know we've done a couple together. I know we've done some of the board games together. So what's sort of your background in this space?
Well, yeah, I first started doing them with you. So we did a few in person. We did the board games for the podcast, and we played a few extra on our own. I've done a couple, I think 2 or 3 without you, but with just, other same group of people. I don't think I've ever done them with complete random groups like some of you have. It's never been more than like 1 or 2 strangers. It's usually a group full of friends, which I think is a different experience than when if it's like mostly people you don't know or don't know well. But yeah, I really enjoy them. We've done a bunch around the Baltimore, DC area and up in Philly. Yeah, I like them. I have a good amount of experience with them. I like the board game versions of them. They're definitely different. And I liked the idea of these. I was looking forward to trying them. And, they were definitely a good version of them for online.
Very cool. So just a note to everybody listening, Rocky, Brian, and I did 2 of these, which is all of them available at this website. And Mike and Marty joined us on the second one we did a little bit earlier today. We had Don and Michelle, who have been on the show in previous episodes. They did the first one with us. because we just wanted to get in and just see what the space was. Once again, there are a few ways that people are doing these. There's some cases where you can buy a video game like for the Switch where it really is literally a point and click adventure. There are some of them where someone's in a physical room and you're just yelling at them and they're doing stuff. I think there's some cases where it's sort of more elaborate puzzle games with actors where it's not even like physical things. It's just sort of puzzles you're doing that you're working with actors through. And then this we did, which was just sort of a timed point and click adventure. One of the things I would note, so there are kind of two ways that escape rooms run. And once again, there are shows like the Escape Room Divas, part of Inverse Genius, where they really get way, way down into how these things work. We're not going to do that. We're going to generalize because it's kind of what we do here on the Party Gamecast. But it seems to be that there's sort of a spectrum of how linear the puzzle is. It seems to me that like bad escape rooms are incredibly linear. You must do A to unlock lock 1 that gives you the key to section 2 that you unlock lock 2, and then so on and so forth. One famous one, I will tell this story because this is the worst thing I've been a part of. So for my birthday one year, we did 3 escape rooms. And things went well. We were like, oh, cool, it's an escape room thing. The third escape room was an Edgar Allan Poe themed escape room. And we looked through the room and the person was guiding us through and saying, oh, you're going to go through sort of a bit of all of Edgar Allan Poe's writings and his history through his life. And they kind of go around the room. And the first thing they point at is a typewriter. Edgar Allan Poe would write many things. And then and they sort of guided you around. And you got the feeling you were like, okay, this is going to be very linear. But the way they've talked to us, I guess we start at the typewriter. And somebody was like, no, we start at this. And people were starting the beginning of the puzzle. Well, one of my friends just decided to start hitting the typewriter. I mean, and they accidentally...
You can tell them who, because he's been on the show.
Josh, who's been on the show.
Yeah.
He like just started hitting the typewriter, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I mean, we weren't 10 minutes in. Nope. There was no way. It was under 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, something goes... bing, 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 and a drawer opens with like a prize in it, and you can see him trying to push the drawer back closed because he's like, I don't know what happened. I didn't mean to do this. I was just fiddling with it, and the whole thing was over because it was linear, and the final step of the line was completely open to you. There were no locks. There was not a glass case. Although he has the ability to do things like pick locks and stuff, he didn't have to. It was there for him. He could do this stupid thing. He essentially like Mr. Beaned it. He could have just leaned his hand on it and leaned over and ended the entire room. And people came in, the game master came in and went, what did you do? And he's like it was like watching a scalded dog where he's like, I don't know, I just hit a button and then something popped out and then we won ice cream. I don't know. And the problem was that it was a disgustingly linear puzzle that led to this final step. And even the way they talked, you thought the line, reasonably, you could believe the line started at this particular item anyway. Like the thought that you would begin your adventure working on that was not hard to believe. And Josh did not mean to brute force the answer to the puzzle, but it was there for him to do it in an incredibly linear puzzle. And that, I think, is when they are bad, because it's 8 people in a room solving one puzzle, because we got to figure out the lock to part 2, because we can only go to part 2 because we can't get to part 3 unless we're through part 2. And then a good room makes it so you're doing 4 things at once and you converge every once in a while, almost like a diamond logic shape where you're like, oh, wait, bing, 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 bing. And then, oh, I have the 1, I've got the 3. Oh, it's a 2241. Oh, well, if I look over here, oh, okay. And then people are like frantically putting things in, you pop the next thing open, you essentially like enter a new room, and then there's 4 more things to go work on.
Yeah, it is much better that way. Otherwise, it's like one person touching a thing and everyone watching them.
Yes. And nobody wants
had those
to do that.
No.
That's not how you want to be.
No. There's also like, whenever you talk about Josh ruining a room, that's not the one I think of. It's the one where you started out locked up.
Oh, that was the same day where we were locked in a handcuff and he had a handcuff key on him and he unlocked his and then didn't unlock ours. So the help that because there were like 2 teams of us, the help the other team was supposed to give us, because essentially we were supposed to be locked together and then we would help each other because we were prisoners, and then we would both unlock the locks. Or he unlocks the key himself. We never get the other half of the puzzle. And the person who set the handcuffs didn't know how to set them. So they just kept closing tighter and tighter and tighter on us. Until eventually, I think he unlocked most of us but one person because the one person wouldn't accept help. And he was like, okay, well, if you don't want the help, I hope you don't lose your hand in this. If your hand turns purple, I'll unlock you because I won't let you be stupid anymore. And eventually the guy by himself worked the whole double side of the thing, got himself out. But yeah, no, that was all on that same day.
That was my first ever experience at an escape room. Yeah, that was because that was the first one that day. And I was like, I don't know about this whole concept of escape rooms. It sounds kind of nerdy. I don't know. And then we went in and that happened. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what to make of this.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you did another one after that.
There were 3 that day. He'd already bought in.
I already paid.
So they're best when they split apart. Now, the only problem I think, and I think we're going to talk about that with this room, is if they split apart too much, you can feel like, okay, so at the very beginning, I figured a thing out and I yelled a number at somebody. And then 20 minutes passed. And then I looked at another thing and I realized that if I stood back, it gave me another number and I yelled that at somebody and then we won. And I don't know what happened in the other steps.
Yeah, it was a lot of people doing things like, and like yelling parts or saying parts of their thought processes as they were going like, oh, and that goes to here. And we have no idea what they're talking about because we can't see what they're pointing at or what they're holding or anything like that. Yeah. And then we go, oh, well, and then someone will say, well, try this number in there. And then we try it and it either works or it doesn't. And then we move on.
And that very much, like, if you've done an escape room in a physical space, you know that that's kind of how it works. And normally, if there's too many people, you're sort of staring over each other's shoulder. So there's certain things you won't do, like you won't brute force a lock, which what that means is you have an idea of part of the lock, and you just keep putting the other missing part. You just go through the wheel of possibilities until it eventually pops open.
You know it's 6-2 something.
Yeah.
And there's only one more digit. There's only 10 possibilities.
Who would do that?
I can't even imagine. So in this particular one, they put you in a room. I'm going to try to not give away too much. So let's try to be as spoiler free as we can while still kind of talking about it. But they sort of put you in a room and they're like, hey, you can point and click to the left or right. But you're really going to work on this one puzzle right now. You want to make this thing work right now. Someone better work on it while your friends split up and do things.
I don't know if they made that plain or if that was just obvious to us. We were like, yeah, we're not all doing this. Who wants to do this part?
That is true. It was the kind of puzzle. It was a maze.
Yeah.
And like, you don't want 3 people working on a maze. That is also another great rule. If you ever do escape room, be it virtual or in the real world, is if more than one person is working on something, one person too many is probably working on something.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Like unless it's a dexterity thing that requires more people, then yeah, you probably got too many people there.
Yeah, now you may have the wrong person. That may be why you have 2 people there.
Yes.
Is you need to swap out a different tool. Somebody is better at something than somebody else, and you need to recognize who the right person is. And that may be the issue. But here it was definitely like, you work on this thing, and then Rocky was somewhere else on one of the other screens. Just kind of, it sounded to me as I worked on a maze, like just babbling. Like just number babbling. Right.
Yeah, no, a lot of it was like all of us at various times took times babbling. We just took our turn babbling.
Yeah.
Well, this thing and then this thing.
And then
then what's this thing? Somebody figure out this other thing. Yeah.
And then there would be times where, because like Marty's just Marty, and he's always Marty. And what's beautiful about that is communication's always very important in these games. You should always be actively talking to everyone at every moment because that helps you. And there's a point where we're like, oh, look in the book and do this, and there's some number we need, and I just don't know how the number puzzle works. And Marty goes, 19467. And we go, what? He goes, the puzzle. 19467. And we go, oh, well, are you sure? Just put it in. 19467. And we're like, but how did you do it? Just try it, would you? 19467. Click, and the door opens. He's like, okay, 194. Someone write that down.
We're talking about something like completely unrelated, and then all of a sudden it's like, Marty opened the safe. What?
That happened a few times because so in this room, rather than things physically happening, and in a real physical escape room, one of the cool things is that moment when you've kind of unlocked the next door. Like, all of a sudden something will happen and you'll hear like a pop and then a door will fly open. Or, all of a sudden you'll put something in and you'll bust the ghost. And then when you bust the ghost the wall opens up. Like, these are the moments where it's really very theatrical in escape rooms. Whereas in this, it just puts like a note on your screen, and it oftentimes will be like mid talking, like, okay, I think it's probably a number. Brian has opened the medicine cabinet. And we're like, what even is the medicine cabinet? Brian's like, oh no, I've opened it. We're like, yeah, we know. What does that mean?
And then we'll see Brian has gotten the key out of it. I'm like, what does that go to? We don't know yet.
Yeah. So there were some of those moments. The Marty moment where he just kind of barked out a 5-digit number was the most pronounced of all of them, because like the rest of us had just figured out this was a puzzle and we were like, jinkies, guys, I think we need a number for this, but I don't know how it works. And Rocky's like, I've been working it with a calculator for a minute or two. I think I have it. And then Marty
Rocky's got this number that's like repeating decimal for like 90 characters.
Well, that was
Marty's
a separate puzzle, but yeah.
I got it.
Well, because I had said earlier, all right, I think this grid is a thing because there's a symbol over here. There's got to be a pattern. Somebody figure it out. And then I was like, I'm too stupid to figure this out. I'm going to do something else. And
that
Marty
grid
was
is
like,
a thing.
I got this.
94831. What, Marty? How did you even get that?
I did say you add across to get the numbers, but you were too busy being impressed. And
That was the only time you explained it, though, Marty, because there were two other times where you were just like, oh, it's this. And you just told us the number.
Yeah. Well, no, I explained the other one with the plane stubs as well.
Oh, yeah, eventually. Yes.
I don't want to get into too much detail to spoil people, but.
And to all of you out there, we're sorry, because I know this very much sounds like a person telling you about a movie they like that
we're
they
not
don't
trying
like.
To spoil it.
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to spoil it for you, but here's what you really need to know. So what I would say this does really well is I did get that feeling of camaraderie and that feeling of doing a puzzle together. Not in a painful way, because for me, like, I'm not the biggest fan of puzzles. I don't hate them, but I don't love them. But I really like escape rooms. And part of it I like about an escape room is everybody can break off. Everybody gets a chance to be a superstar. Everybody can say like, oh yeah, no. I did magic tricks for years. It's a magnet. You're like, what? No. This is the way a lot of these boxes work. Hand me something. Okay, pop, and it works. And you're like, how do you know that? You're like, oh, I did sleight of hand for 6 or 7 years. A lot of magnets and sleight of hand. Just open it and keep going. And everyone leaves with that, like the Marty moment, where you're like, I never even knew you did that. And you're like, don't worry about it. But that's how it works. Or somebody else like magically can figure out how to like tie and untie a knot through a plastic box with chopsticks. And, like those moments where everybody gets to be a superstar for a second. We get to look at the puzzle and go, I don't know how this works. And Marty goes, 18639. We're like, what? 18, just try putting it in. Look, it worked. You're like, that's awesome. And I think this room did a great job of that, quite frankly. I don't know that I feel like it was like being in an escape room where you get that tactile sensation.
No, that was, definitely something that I felt was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I would say, as far as like a fun way to spend a night with some folks, like I had a ball for the hour we played this for that puzzle that probably should have taken us about 40 minutes. So how do you feel about it, Marty? So you've done a couple of escape rooms and you've done this one. Now, I think we can safely say across the board, it's not the same, and it's not going to be, because that 3-dimensional playing with props and being in a themed room that's like a pirate ship or the Ecto one, like that's always going to be important to the escape room experience. But like as far as, kind of a virtual experience, how do you feel about it?
So a couple of things, and part of it is just escape rooms in general. Like one thing is like the puzzles you were talking about, where a lot of times it's like hit or miss about whether you know how to solve the puzzle, whether like someone has that specific experience. Mm-hmm. But it's also a lot like, if you ever done crosswords, it's not just that you know the clue. It's like there's a certain scheme to it where like once you learn how to do crosswords, all other crosswords just become easier because there's a pattern to them. There's certain things you look for. And so there was a couple times in this one where, it wasn't so much that the clues gave it away, but like with the playing stubs, it was, these are important. How can they work? Like the clues had nothing to do with it. It's just that this is something that obviously makes this thing open. So just try different logical combinations until you get the right one.
Yes. But I would say the beauty of that is that is a very escape room way to see it. And we were in a virtual environment doing it.
Yeah. So I think that can be fun, or it can be really frustrating depending on the knowledge base and the difficulty and the esotericness of the escape room itself. But I do like you said, I do like the camaraderie of it. Like sometimes we're trying to figure out the decimal places and having fun with that, even though it was just silly and didn't make any sense, but it was still fun, like yelling numbers at each other. So I think it's like, if you do it the right people, even bad escape rooms can be fun, but it really depends on who you do it with and their frame of mind going into it.
Oh, I can definitely see that. So how about you, Brian? Because I know you like these. How did you feel about this as a virtual experience?
I liked it. It was a little linear, but not too much in my experience, or in my limited experience with the other one we did. I think, just to touch on the other one that we did, because it was the same company, that one felt far less linear. That one felt like there was more stuff to do. I think there were more rooms to it, I think. Yeah. And there was a lot more opportunity to like do separate things. You know, there were a bunch of things to work on separately. This one, there was still, we weren't overlapping a lot, but it was like there were 3 to 5 things to do at any time, which worked because there were 5 of us. But like, it was kind of like we're in a room and there's 3 locks. So, and there's 6 things you can click on. So we got to, figure out which 3 are going to unlock the locks. It was a little straightforward, but I like it. It does kind of fit the in-person experience. Mm-hmm. Like you said, with the crosstalk and everybody shouting out stuff and sort of splitting up jobs a little bit, or like somebody latching on, like Marty's, I can figure this out. We just let Marty figure it out. And we do something else, and that's a thing you do in the in-person ones. So I like that aspect of it. I think it's a decent version, because you can't ever fully replicate the in-person in a virtual, but
of course,
if you're looking for something that's going to remind you of it, or if you like the concept, but you're claustrophobic, or you don't have a bunch of friends you can go do it with easily, but you want to try something close, I think this would also be a great version of that. If you have something that keeps you from doing it in person, or maybe you have some sort of physical challenge that makes you not able to do it, this would be a great way to still get that experience. So I think it was a good example of it. I like it. I would recommend it to people. I just don't know, if you're looking for the full high-end escape room with really high production values and super clever puzzles, and it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I think it gets you where you want to be with an escape room.
I can see it. And that's something we've talked about sort of through the whole pandemic lockdown, is we have to kind of compare these differently than we do to other experiences that can play in the full 3 dimensions. The other thing I'd also mention is maybe your friends are just different places. Maybe they're just in different parts of the world, and that's what puts you in one of these escape rooms. I think that kind of thing is going to be how these are going to exist past the period where everybody's locked in their house. I think is going to be, now that people have built these, now me and my friends that are in Des Moines could do this together, and we don't just have to call each other about how much we miss doing escape rooms together. We now can do an escape room type thing. Mike, so how did you feel about this? Once again, it's not going to be the full 3-dimension high production escape room, but as a virtual thing to do with folks.
It was entertaining to do with people. I would say that personally, I really missed the feel of having those props in my hands.
Yep.
The messing with the puzzle locks, the turning the cryptic thing, everything. Even though a lot of it is similar or the same across escape rooms, it still feels good to do it.
Oh, definitely.
And there's also there's something about a destination. Like everyone goes somewhere to do something. It's the difference between, everyone. I mean, a lot of us have had the experience during the lockdown of doing these virtual movie nights where we're all watching the same thing at the same time, and we're not in the same places, sometimes across the world from each other, but we're all watching the same thing at the same time. But it's not the same as being in a movie theater with your friends. It's just not. There's something about, even if you're not talking to each other during the movie, which ideally I would say you're not supposed to. I know some people do, and it certainly depends on the movie.
I can hear your eyes roll, Bruce.
Yeah.
It certainly depends on the movie. Some of them you just can't stop.
True.
But even if you're there with them, you're not really like having a conversation. But there's something about everyone sits in the same place together. You're having a shared experience, physically shared together. And this, just like I think everything else in COVID, doesn't have that. So it's great for a COVID activity. I'm not sure how well it will play outside that. I think there are other things you could do with it that would make it, rather than trying to shoehorn that physical escape room experience into a virtual one, maybe make it more of a virtual experience. Maybe have clues that you have to, Google, something like that. Set yourself up a website that, the website itself has things hidden in it. There are all kinds of these things that could be done to make it more genuine that you're actually sitting there behind a computer screen rather than pretending you're not sitting behind a computer screen far away from your friends and actually doing something that you miss doing with your friends.
Yeah, I would say some of the detective games, specifically detective, some of the board games actually do what you're talking about, which is they try to say, like, we're going to let you use your devices and we're going to have your devices act like devices. We're going to tell them where they have to go because you can't just cheat. But you're not going to feel like on your phone you're supposed to be in Egyptian ruins. You're going to feel like you're on your phone.
Right.
I
think that would help this feel more like an activity you were doing with your friends rather than an activity you're pretending to do with your friends.
Okay, I can see that. How about you, Roxo? How do you feel about this? Because I think Mike does make one great point. And I think it's things like the big final moment, when you're the conquering hero, does not feel as good in these games. One of my favorite, it's the room you and I did together and we talked about it, was the Ghostbusters one, which was the stupidest one I've done. It was the easiest clues. We had a couple people that didn't know escape rooms. We pretty much just told them to sit in a chair and we beat the thing in 18 minutes because it was so simple. But the very last thing was a clue that I was positive was just going to open up another room. It didn't. I put the ghost in the containment unit, not even realizing that such a simple puzzle would do it. But there is something about the moment of hearing the containment unit go off and steam shoot out and the ghost scream and then playing the Ghostbusters theme. Where there was a moment where I was like, did we really? Is that all it took? But you're like, I beat the Ghostbusters, and it's da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, you tell him, Ray Parker Jr. And you're right. The physical space, you're not gonna get quite that superhero moment, that conquering hero thing in the virtual world. But all of that aside, Rock, how do you feel about it? You and I have done quite a few rooms together, and now we've done these.
I will agree with you that the endings are a little anticlimactic. It was just like, thanks.
Yeah, this one was
I guess
incredibly so.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Click. What?
Hey, you're done. Congratulations.
Yeah. And I definitely do miss the tactile element of it. Of, hey, I'm going to work on this physical part. I have to untie this knot, or we have to stretch this string around this website doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
And I will say that the room we did today, are we going to talk about which one it was? We did the
I think we can tell them which.
Yeah, we did the South Pole one today, and we
North
did the
Pole.
North Pole, and we did the
Underground,
the other one, the New York Underground, or the London Underground.
London Underground. Yeah. The North Pole one was very math heavy.
Yes.
Very math heavy. The other one was a little bit, but it had some other puzzles mixed in there.
I
Right, like,
wouldn't
you have
say
to-
the North was math heavy, but it was definitely logic heavy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was very math and science themed.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
felt more mathy than it was, but it
And-
very much felt it.
The other one, you had to like collect clues and items, and then you had to pour over notes and like figure stuff out, but not in a figure that how this number relates to the other numbers. Like that's not
Yeah.
wasn't exactly. So I do like that they were different. I think I enjoyed the underground a little bit more.
Okay.
I do appreciate the fact that the site also integrates video chat on the page, so you don't
Yes.
need to have a separate Zoom running. And so as you're working it out, you could at least look at each other's faces
Yes.
and, talk to each other that way. So it felt like you were together.
Indeed.
But
Although there's the virtual room, like the display is like a virtual room that you're
Yes.
in with like stuff like that, and there's a little box in the lower right hand corner with the chat box with everyone's faces in it, and you can't move that box. You can't.
No.
You can make it go away entirely, I think.
Yeah, you
But-
can minimize it.
You can't pop it out into its own window. You can't pop anything out into its own window, which would have been really handy. I felt like there were a lot of things that could have done better for convenience sake.
yes.
Probably true.
And I think besides that victory moment in escape rooms,
Yeah.
I also enjoy that feeling of right at the beginning, as if you're on, I'm going to date myself, if you were on the show like Finders Keepers,
Oh,
that
get out of
old
my
game
head. That's what I
show
was
from
gonna say. Yep.
Nickelodeon. Yeah, where you were like tearing through a house trying to find clues, or I guess Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to
Oh.
just run around. You don't have that frenzied, all right, break, go. And we're all going to run around the room and touch everything and figure it out. And hey, I'm doing this thing. And hey, it was just staring at the screen going, what do I do? Click, click, click. Nope, that doesn't do anything. Click, click, click. Oh, all right, well, that pops up when I click on it, so it must be important.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as far as doing things virtually, I think this is a good option. But if I had to choose between the two, I would choose in person, but definitely not right now.
Of course. And then
Wow.
we're gonna hit our final question of the show. Normally, be would you take it to a party? We've had to through the entire pandemic say, would you do it on a Zoom party? Is the thing? I think that's what we're gonna have to do here as well. Is considering the conditions we're in right now, which we are still very much in the middle of a pandemic as we are making this. We are nearing ourselves towards the horizon, but we are very much still in the middle of it right this second. Is this a thing you would do with folks? Would you pay money for this? This is a one-time purchase. How does that feel to you? I'm going to start with Marty. Marty, would you do this with other folks? Would you pay money to make this a thing that you do with your friends?
I would definitely do this with my friends if the friends are into escape rooms and
Okay.
if it's the right group of people. Like if I have friends that I wouldn't want to do an escape room with, and I have friends that I would. So it depends on the friends.
Okay.
As for the money, yeah, I do. I don't mind paying money for getting a value. Like you pay for other stuff, so why shouldn't? I think sometimes people just get used to having too much for free, and they don't realize the work going in.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the, when we talk about it here, it's that so many different virtual things, like a lot of us right now, if anybody invites us to anything, we'll go, because what else are we doing? It's, the question is just to see, like, would you lose the money to have the experience? It's not like if anybody just asked you, would you do it? I think at this point, if there's something you won't go do, that is more a sign of a lack of quality than that you would is a sign of quality. It's more like, is this experience worth putting money out to do it with people? I guess is more the way I'm trying to direct the question.
Well, yeah, and I think it can be. I think the production value of this particular escape room we went to was a little low for the price, but as a concept, I wouldn't mind paying money for doing this kind of thing.
Okay, and just as a note for those of you out there, I think the retail price on the thing that we did today was $40 for up to 5 people. I had some sale thing, so it was like $24. The ones that you have where like you have actors running around are almost $200 in some of the experiences I've seen. So that's why we haven't tried one of those. Although we might, if there's enough of a demand, maybe we'll make some sort of video where we do that. Brian, so we'll move on to you. Like not only is it a thing you would do, is it a thing you'd spend money to do with your friends?
Yes, I'd take a party to this.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Well done. You have, Brian.
I was waiting on that. I won't lie.
Well done.
But yeah, I think this is a given obviously of online gaming experience that you're looking for. I think this is a good one. It's approachable. Like it's gonna get the escape room feeling across without. Yep. But it's still approachable to people who've never done one or kind of on the fence about one. I think of the vast experience I have of doing exactly 2, this one is the more simplistic of the 2. Like I would compare it to when we did the board game ones where there's like difficulty ratings.
Yep.
If I didn't buy it, I don't know if they had difficulty ratings when you bought it. I just put the code in and went to the thing. So maybe there's it's advertised that way, but it does seem like this one is noticeably easier. I would also say like I don't have kids, but if I had kids, this one seems like it would be more approachable to do as like a family night or something. Huh, okay. I mean, not a family, but like you got cousins who are, in middle school and you want to do something fun other than just stare at each other on Zoom. You could do something like that, and this one would be approachable for I think, some slightly younger people for that thing. So I think there's a lot of ways to have fun with this. Like I could see bosses trying to use as a, morale building experience or something. Yep.
A lot of team building does this, definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you could do with this. Or like I sometimes do Zoom calls with people on Facebook that I've never met. And this could be a fun thing to do instead of one of those.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of ways you can have fun with it. It is definitely one of those things you need to bring a little bit of your own fun to it. You got to be in the right mindset for it. You got to have the Zoom etiquette of not everybody talking over each other all the time because then nothing gets done. But yeah, I think this is a good experience. I would definitely invite other people to do this sort of thing. Hopefully, there's other companies with similar products and price points.
There's so many
because this one only has 2.
Yeah.
If they had more, I would recommend this company. I can't do these 2 again.
No.
But yeah, like as in general, I really like this. It was a fun experience. I would recommend it. And I would bring friends to it. I would, wherever I had the opportunity, I would go for it.
Very cool. Mike, it took Brian as our head writer a year to get us here. Would you take a party to this?
Maybe the rogue, but I don't think the fighter would be into it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as something to do right now, as I said earlier, I think as a COVID activity, yeah, sure. But we're all kind of like you pointed out, we're all looking for something to do, and it'd have to be pretty bad for us to say no, I won't do that.
True.
And the price point isn't so high. I mean, a normal like in-person, real like physical escape room is anywhere from. I think I've seen the lowest I saw was like $10 or $15 on a sale per person.
And you usually have to have like 8 people. So really, the cost for a whole group there is going to end up being about $120 on the low end and about $250, $275 on the high end.
Yeah, and for this one, what is it? $40?
$40 is a full retail, and most of the time they have a code, so it's like $25.
Yeah,
for the whole crowd.
At most, it's $8 a person. Yeah. That's less than a movie at this point.
Yep.
So why not? I mean, it's worth a shot. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. At least you've done something different with your friends.
Yep.
That almost feels like you're not, in a different place, just talking on Zoom. At least you're doing something together.
Indeed. How about you, Rock? Would you take a party to it?
I would. It's considerably cheaper than going to an actual escape room.
Yeah.
It's good if you have people far apart that can't travel. I mean, it's it's miles cheaper than even an in-person escape room, not just I'm going to boss a person around virtual one. So, and they are coming out with a third room on this website.
Nice.
It looks like it's called Detention, and it looks like you're trapped in a ruined school.
Ooh.
So, right? So I'm kind of intrigued.
in.
I still want to try this third one. So
I have to agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
I totally get what Mike is saying. I think even if that comes out and we are through COVID, I would still take a night to go do it. I don't know that I would say that as far as this concept goes across the board, I don't know that I feel that way. But they've got me in enough that I would do another one, especially at this price point with folks.
definitely. Now, if it's a choice between that and doing one live in the world where we're allowed to do that again, I would probably do one live. But, if we're doing this at 11 p.m. or whatever we're doing, in our area, there's no place that's like, hey, come in at midnight and do this thing. Like, we could do this whenever we want, which is also nice.
I think what this fairly competes against are the board games.
Mm-hmm.
More than a real escape room. Is this fairly competes against Exit and Unlock and Deckscape and Unlock the Box or whatever they're called. For me, that's what this competes against. And if that's where we're looking, I think rather than saying it's like an escape room but not cool and I can't touch things, it's like a board game and we can be further apart. I think when we look at it, if we frame it that way, I think suddenly the value proposition becomes a lot higher.
Yeah, sort of. But at the same time, that's not how it's being advertised. It is a virtual escape room, not a virtual board game. Like it is modeled after an escape room. You're doing the same activities. You were comparing it to like the way everyone sort of splits off into their groups and does their separate things like they do in an escape room. And Marty
like they do in the board games. The board games try to do that as well. I mean, like,
but they're also modeled on the real escape rooms.
Yes.
So all of this stuff is modeled on the real escape rooms, and you just sort of have to accept that you're trying to get as close as possible without actually being there.
Yes.
But at the same time, like if that's something you like to do, then nothing is going to take the place of actually being in a real physical escape room with your friends. Unfortunately, we're just not in a world where that's feasible right now.
Yeah.
So we make do.
True. I'm going to add I would definitely take a party to this. I took a party to this, then I took a second party to this, and I will take a third party to this for abandoned school. I'm in for that as well. I do think it compares well against the board games, though I agree that nothing's going to compare against like real Imagineers making the Orient Express. Like it's just not going to beat that. But I will say against the board games, if my option is play this with y'all or play, Unlock, I might pick this over Unlock if I'm given the two options. I don't know if I'd pick it over Exit because some of the Exit stuff's kind of clever, but over Unlock, I think I probably would. Deckscape I happen to really like, but if I got the wrong Deckscape, I might feel the same way. I think it compares pretty well, both in price point and in experience to those. So yeah, I would definitely take a party to it. Brilliant, Brian. I'm sorry you didn't figure that twist of phrase 9 months ago, because it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You did an amazing job.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe he did, and it just hasn't come out yet, Bruce.
That could be. Hopefully we'll see that all got fixed. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Party Gamecast, featuring the Party Gamecast, podcast about party games take to parties. Help me, because it's been a while. What are all the different ways people can reach us? Twitter.
On
Party Games.
At Party Gamecast, Twitter. Technically Instagram, we don't really Instagram at all.
Nah.
But we have it there so nobody steals the idea from us.
Okay.
You can call us on the hotline at 30 Party Game, 30 PARTYGAME. You can leave off that last E for savings.
Ooh.
Party Gam.
You get the Party Gam, but the Party Gams.
You can
And there's
listen to
Facebook
us wherever. On.
Well, they're
Yeah,
listening to us now, presumably.
they're-
Well, yeah.
Wherever your fine podcasts are sold.
Oh, you stole that from me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You say it, Rocky.
No. The moment has passed.
You took it, Bruce.
I can't. You have it now.
There also, we technically do still have a Twitch channel. We might occasionally appear on there. I think as the pandemic is ending, we're probably, I don't know if we're going to totally abandon it, because every once in a while there's a thing that we just might want to do that's just the kind of thing where you want to show people a thing, like Eurovision or some ridiculous movie or the next episode of this show. We already know what we're doing, and the thing we're doing is awesome, and I'm going to want to share it with as many of you as I possibly can.
Yeah, we should Twitch that.
Yeah, we definitely should Twitch that at least once, and we probably should do like an invite-only Zoom at some point with it. Mm-hmm. And here's what I would say. I think the experience, I'm going to build it up. I think the experience, even in a world where we can all get together, would be worth checking out if we can't be in the same place. I think it is the kind of thing, it's the kind of game we're going to be talking about where I think you could take a convention room at almost any convention at 2 a.m. and play this game with people. And I think if you find cool people, non-cool people are going to hate it. Squares are going to hate it. But cool people are going to love it.
Just delirious 2 a.m. cool people.
Yeah, no, but you don't want to play this at 10 a.m.
No.
It's not a 10 a.m. event.
No.
It's not
so not like that comedy club at 10 a.m.
No, not like that. No, not like that comedy club at 10 a.m. We'll talk to you about that later, folks. But yeah, find us all the places you can find us. More episodes are coming out. I think we've fixed the issues with our pipeline of production, which was largely me. I was our problem.
Bruce clogged the pipeline.
I clogged the pipeline. A big thank you to beer company Light Beer. It's wet beer. Also to listeners like you, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it over at patreon.com. And of course, the Power of the Meeple, powerofthemeeple.com. Remember, check out the website. Great games, great prices. They help a whole bunch of podcasts like ourselves. And they also help the Spiel Foundation. I've been Bruce. Joining me in the show is Rocky.
Escape.
Brian.
Gaga.
Mike.
Bye, everyone.
And Marty.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
And it crumbles everywhere, even if you just look at it too hard. Thank you so much for listening.